What's going on, Badger fans? We are continuing our journey through this recruiting class, breaking down every single player in this really good 2024 class for Luke Fickell and the Wisconsin Badgers. Today's episode, Emerson Mandell, interior offensive lineman guard coming out of St. Paul, Minnesota. We pulled one from the Gopher State. We saved one, right? We rescued one. Had a Gophers offer, 6'5", 320. I've seen listed anywhere between 315 and 325, so I just split the difference. We'll call it 320 for now. Uh, 4 star on Rivals, a 4 star on three stars on ESPN and 247. Really good offer list. And let's just get into it. We always talk about what are the three things we like about every single recruit. The first one is this film is awesome. Like, one of the reasons I mentioned this wasn't on my show. I forget what show this was on. I was on someone else's, but I mentioned one of the things we like about sports is we get to see people do things we can too. Right. We get to see people, players, athletes do things that we just physically cannot do. Emerson Mandell ragdolls people. I cannot ragdoll people. He just there's his film is one of the most fun and enjoyable of this entire class. He's up there for me with Dupree. He's up there for me with Metoyer. Um, Anello Lafayette is really fun. The He just demolishes people. Like he gets people that like I think some of these dudes after they play Emerson Mandell, they quit football and they take up like pottery. Like he is just he's like a rhino or like a rhinoceros with a helmet on. It's awesome. So his film is a ton of fun. Second thing I like about him, you don't again like we've said this a lot about the offensive lineman in this class, particularly. You don't have to project what he looks like with weight. He's 320 right now. And he carries it really well. So it's not a project player where yeah, he's really athletic on film, big frame, but you got to put 40 pounds on him. You don't got to do it. Now, listen, the body needs work. Every kid coming out of high school needs to get in a college strength and conditioning program. I'm not saying he's ready in day one to go play Iowa and move people in the trenches. What I am saying, though, is you kind of already know his body can handle the weight. You don't have to worry about that part of it. He's really fun, and he's already 300 plus pounds. Last thing I like about him is athletically, he moves really well. He flies off the ball. He really plays with leverage, great leg drive. You're going to see it on film. We're going to put it up here in a second, but he's really physically athletic. There are some drawbacks we're going to talk about, or maybe not even drawbacks, but questions we're going to talk about. Again, no prospect is a perfect prospect outside of like maybe an Orlando Pace, but let's get the film up. Those are the three things I really like about Mandell. College ready size, really athletic, and really fun, powerful film. So let's put the film up here. Let's talk about it as we always do. And here's Emerson Mandell. And again, on some of these clips, it's just fun to watch, right? Talk about the player, but let's just watch together for a little bit and have some fun. Lining up at guard. That's another thing I like. Lining up at guard, you're not projecting him. He just demolishes this guy. Let me go find another. Let me drive him out of the frame. That's ridiculous. But again, I like that he's already playing guard. He's not a tackle that we're going to have to try to move inside. He's not. I think this is a fun clip here. As he he just pile drives a guy 18 yards past the line of scrimmage. Right. What is something else we've talked about with this offensive line class? They all finish. Like they're all physical. Sorry, I'm laughing as I watch it. He just that guy's limping when he gets up. I mean, I hope he's fine. But they're all physical. They finish their blocks. They pile drive people into the ground. They play until the whistle. There's a nastiness with this particular offensive line group that's pretty awesome. Mandell's at the top of that for me. I mean, he is. This is a guy Justin Jolko likes a lot. He just has tremendous physical upside. Now, one of the things you're going to notice on film is there's almost no pass blocking clips. Like they just run a lot in this offense, and that's one of the biggest question marks. I talked to Brian Smith about him. Brian Smith said, "Yeah, I love the physicality, but I don't have a clue if he can pass block. We haven't seen it. The film's not there for it." So, I mean, he's going to have to learn that, right? Athletically, why can't he? He's got the right frame. He's got the right physicality, but he's going to have to do it. He's going to need reps there for sure. Even it's not even an athletic thing. At some point, you just need reps to learn how to do it. And he just hasn't got a lot of that in high school. So in that sense, he's maybe more of a project. But again, physically, you can just see him fly off the ball. That's something that's pretty unique about his game. Like, look at the stance here, and he just flies off the ball, buries the tackle, puts him in the dirt. He gets off really quickly for a 320-pound guy. He doesn't lean on people. Like, so many guys are leaners. He fires into them, extends, drives through them, and puts them in the dirt, right? That's the type of physicality that wears on defenses. They get sick of being blocked by a guy like that. So Emerson Mandell, I think, tremendous upside as a power guard, somebody who I mentioned, I think you'll see the clip with Brian Smith, but somebody who would have fit really well in like the early 90s Barry Alvarez offenses. Just that really physical, powerful guy. You don't have to throw the ball a ton, but he's going to need to develop a little bit more in these iterations of football, right? When we pass a little bit more, he's going to have to be used to a little more space. But you take a guy like this every time. Like, you take a guy with this type of physical upside and power every single time. We go back to our recruiting checkbox. Like, does the film check out? Yeah, to me, the film's a check on him. Offer list, yeah, that's a check too. Look at that offer list: Oklahoma, Iowa, Texas A&M, Penn State. And again, what do I talk about with every offensive line? And a lot of them in this class, randomly, if you get like the Northwestern, Duke, Vanderbilt type offers, he's got a Northwestern offer like that. That speaks to academics, character, hold your jokes with Northwestern, I get it, but typically those type of schools speak to a pretty high academic, pretty outstanding type of student athlete. So it's always good to see. So the offer list checks out to me. The physical skills check out to me. And then the rankings, it's 2 4-stars and 2 3-stars. So that checks out as well. If you average that out, it's kind of a blue blood prospect or a blue chip prospect. And that's kind of what he looks like on film. Again, there's bust potential here because we haven't seen him pass pro. Like, he has to block, but I like this prospect a lot. As always, we're going to stop there, kick it over to Brian Smith to see his take on Emerson Mandell.
Let's talk Emerson Mandell. We're coming off our discussion how hard it is to evaluate offensive linemen, and here you have a 6'6", 285-pound guy just pushing people out of the camera frame. What did you like about Emerson Mandell?
First step quickness, nasty player. Like, he wants to bury guys, which you kind of have to be if you're going to play Power 5 and be an interior O lineman. He knows who he is. They play him at guard at his high school, and good for them because it's a mental and physical fit. And then finally, he's a pretty darn good athlete for a kid his size. He bends well below the waist. That means he could possibly play I need to see him in a scheme that actually throws the football. You and I talked about that before the show. There's no pass blocking footage of him. I don't know exactly how he's going to translate. And he was beating up on children that mothers all over the country are going to be mad about. So, I mean, he was going against competition like it's not the same as where I live here in Florida. And he just beat the bejesus out of him, which he should. But how does he relate when he goes up against guys his own size? I don't know yet. The athleticism, the size, and the strength, the aggressiveness, they're all there. Upside is pretty high. Just need to see more of it. I guess really good competition.
Well, and you talk about the upside, like from a physical standpoint, some of the offensive linemen we've talked about in the past, they're coming in at maybe 260 and you have to project out. How is he going to look with 30 more pounds? Mandell carries the weight really well for a high school kid, 285, 290. It doesn't look sloppy. And to me, that speaks probably a little bit to your previous point of he's probably doing something right off the field, taking care of his body.
I don't see how it couldn't be, because usually kids that big, especially like Midwestern kids, they just lean on guys, and they're mauling people. You can't do that quite as much down here. There are some, but at the same time, we're talking about kids with the size to just run over people. You can still kind of get away with it, but he's put himself in a position, I think, in the weight room doing squats and whatnot. And the reason I say that is first step quickness, even when he takes off, not like right ahead, but at an angle, was really good. And that's promising. When you have first step quickness, I don't care what sport it is, you're at an advantage. So then you add, give or take 300 pounds coming behind that. That's a good thing. Now I'm curious to see what he does eventually at Wisconsin as a blocker in the pass game. Again, that's the only thing. I have no idea. There's just no footage of it. So he's got the foot skills to do it. Now, does he pick up the traits and all that are going to be taught to him? We'll see.
You mentioned probably would have been a great fit in the Barry Alvarez offense as just a mauler.
1994? Are you freaking kidding me? Barry would have had him starting as a redshirt freshman.
I love it.